Life Lessons from the Crazy Dutch Farmer. Lesson number 12, Beautiful. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Persohn. You can contact me at pastor@mascot.church or in the comments below if they're turned on when this video is published. If you like these, like, share, and subscribe, and we might be able to grow the channel as well. Well, this is the 12th in my Life Lesson series. And it might be the last, but I think there's a couple more that I'm going to add. Probably not every week. I need to think through them just a little bit. You've probably got to know my friend Harry a little bit from the conversations that I've had with you. I've got a bit of a special thing that I'm going to show you in just a few moments as the video nears its end. Many years ago, many years ago, that's right. It's 2021 now, and this was 1978. I took a summer's work with a man I affectionately called the Crazy Dutch Farmer. Harry was his name. And if you have seen the past lessons here, you will note that I've painted Harry as hard driving, as tough, as single-minded, hardworking, and all of that. And all those things are true. And I've used the word many times, crazy. I've said, Harry's crazy. But it's not the bad crazy. It's the good crazy, the kind of crazy that if somebody said to me, Al, you're crazy, and he meant that, I'd say, thank you very much for the compliment. So it's meant as nothing more than a compliment. In speaking with his son just recently, or texting back and forth with his son on the internet, he said, even today, the people at church the guys at church call him Hot Wheels Harry. And that's because when he drives fast, the pedals to the metal, one place to the next. And that's the thing about Harry. If a car couldn't deliver at high speed, he wasn't interested in it. I remember one time sitting down at a meal. It wasn't hot outside. It wasn't hot inside. And we had corn on the cob. And Harry ate the corn on the cob and worked so hard eating the corn on the cob, he was sweating as he did it. That's just, I'm going to throw myself at this. I'm going to do it well. Every one of the lessons that I've used and spoken about in the past where I'd said that Harry would growl at me or whatever, I needed to be growled at every time. The best bosses I've ever had over the years have been like Harry. They have demanded that I earn what I'm paid for. And those that did not demand that did not have my respect. But if someone demanded it and required that of me, they had my respect. And especially if they understood that my effort was wholehearted. Do what you do well. We had that song that we looked at a few videos ago, and that's a way that you need to live your life. Whatever you do it unto the Lord. Do it heartily as unto the Lord. That's got to be the attitude that we live in and that we live with. Life comes and life is good for those who work hard and those who are committed to it. But if you've gotten this far in my videos and you've deducted that Harry was nothing but a mean man, nothing but a hard boss who was difficult to live with, you've got it wrong, and that was not my intent. I certainly painted that picture because in order to see this lesson, you have to see the others as well. You need to understand them. This week in my public ministry, I'm calling this week Beautiful Week, and I've talked about beauty in the message before. We discussed it we discussed beauty in our live stream, and probably the message after this will be more of a theological look at that very topic, and I encourage you to listen to those. Well, this message lines up with that. One day, it was, I don't really remember when, but I presume it would have been May sometime once the seed was in the ground. In the Northern Hemisphere, especially where you have a blanket of snow, you might get a chance to prepare the ground in March. It would be great if you could. Usually it's going to be late March, early April. You've got to soften up the soil. Maybe it was plowed in the year before and get it ready. If you put the seed in the ground when the ground is too wet, you might spoil the seed. If you put it in when it's too warm and dry, it might be too late for the crop to grow and to mature in the time window, because you don't have a long season of growth. It's very, very narrow. And so you have to take advantage of that time. Some crops, like haying crops and that, are in for many years. You just have to you cut them when they're ready, and you might cut it 2 or 3 times in a season. But others, like grain and corn, They have to be in the right time and harvested at the right time. So we had prepared this field, and I still remember that day very, very clearly in my mind. And the field was prepared, many trips over it with various implements. You start with maybe a disc and then a harrow and a cultivator, disc cultivator, harrow, whatever it is, and it's ready to go. Then you seed it. And we were returning home, and we were tired and full of dirt and everything like that. But we stood out and looked over, and Harry was looking at the field, and I stood beside him. And he said, "You see that?" And all I saw was dirt. And he said to me, "Well, all you see is dirt right now." But he said, in just a few weeks, he said, the seed is going to sprout, and it's going to grow. And it's going to be about this high. I think it was something like this high. And he said, and then the wind is going to blow over it, and it's going to ripple. And he said, and it will be beautiful. Beautiful. And it gave me a real insight that, again, it's one of those things that I've never valued or didn't value enough, one of those lessons, until later in life. You look back and you say, yes, that's really interesting. No matter how tough and how hard and how difficult things were and how many demands Harry would place on me to get things done and how much he'd scream and shout, and every time he did, I deserved it. You know, I put my hand up, yeah, scream at me, all right? Or how many times things would break, like the manure spreader, and he had to do the work himself and said, oh, just take responsibility for this. And sometimes, you just blow your stack because things are tough anyways, right? But no matter how many of those things happened, and no matter what, Harry still had an eye for things that were beautiful. He could see the result of the work of his hands before it was completed. He could look at that field and say, do you see that? No, just dirt, right? He said, in a few weeks' time, the grain is going to grow up, and the wind is going to ripple over it, and it will be beautiful. Wow. What's the lesson? What's the lesson? Well, there's a lot of lessons, I guess, here. Let's start from the top, but not in any particular order. Number one, beauty is there for us. There are things that are beautiful that we look at and that we see. We don't even know why they're beautiful. We just look at them. I believe that God has put beautiful things in creation to bring us to the edge of our knowledge and to ask us why they are there. God had no need to make everything beautiful. The better our tools get, the more we look at smaller things, or the more we're able to see big things far away, the more we see beauty. Things we can never see with the naked eye, yet it's there. We understand from the scriptures that God is the ultimate in beauty. He is perfect in beauty. And so he reflects those qualities in his creation, even though in our own selves we can't grasp the fullness of all of those things. However, we do have the ability to see beauty, to see the wonder of things, even though we have not yet completed them. This sets us apart from every creature that exists otherwise, all created beings, well, certainly all that we know of on the earth. Your dog might appreciate the wind in his face in some way, but does not understand beauty. In the same way that you might be eating a piece of cheese and your dog wants that piece of cheese. Your dog knows about that piece of cheese, but does not know about what I call cheeseness. That is, that there's different kinds of cheese and they're all part of a unit. That's thinking abstractly. Your dog can't do that, but you do it all the time. You have the ability to see something no other creature can, and that's beauty. When I run along the beach here in the morning, which is close to my home, I hope you're not too jealous of me hearing this, I see people from all walks of life, all ages, who stop and look at the sunrise just coming over the horizon. Why? I don't know, except that it's beautiful. Harry, as tough as he was and as hard as he was, could look at the works of his hands and say that they were beautiful. He could also see that the result of the works of his hands, not yet visible, was also going to be beautiful. What does it tell me? I need to both appreciate the things of beauty around me, but I also need to live that way as well. I think I started listing them and then I didn't get there. The first thing is, things are naturally, wonderfully beautiful. There's beauty everywhere. God brings it into place. The second thing is, we need to do things that are beautiful. The third is, we need to have an eye for beauty. We need to look out and see beauty in things yet accomplished. How wonderful is it to see a woman who's carrying a child and say, what is on the inside is beautiful, what comes out is beautiful. It's all wonderful. How important is it for us to realize, and maybe we should end here, that no matter who you are or no matter where you are, whether you're an infant, a young person, an older person, an old woman, old man, lazy bones, or a hardworking, hard-driving, self-accomplished person like Harry, you can all appreciate beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Life Lessons from the Crazy Dutch Farmer, lesson number 12. But I promised you something. I'm going to show you a picture of Harry. There you go. Let me flick a picture up here. This was taken recently. Harry was looking at one of my videos that I'd done, smiling here, and then no doubt shaking his head at disgust, saying I should have slapped him harder when I had a chance. My name is Al Persohn. This has been Life Lessons from the Crazy Dutch Farmer. Lesson number 12, beautiful. God bless you. We'll be back soon. If you like this, like, share, and subscribe.